concept where spirit and earth meet together as one, united being.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to Peripheral Consciousness, and thank you for sharing your time with me. On today's episode, I will be discussing the wants and needs of our physical plane world. Later in the episode, I will be allowing a spirit message in the form of spirit-controlled speech, delivered by one of my spirit guides. I would like to start off by reminding everyone that we do not control the physical plane world. So, without explanation, our thoughts of need and want are futile. It is pointless to have a thought of need or want if our lives are not self-controlled in the moment. Our bodies are part of the physical world, as well as our senses. And our thoughts are a sense. So, why do we have thoughts of need and want? These thoughts are futile. This arises the bigger question. Why do we have thoughts? What are thoughts? Understanding the fundamentals of anything is the only way to truly understand. What is the ultimate fundamental? Existence. What do you know that exists for sure? Ultimately, while you are incarnate, you only know that two things exist for sure. You and at least one other intelligent source. You know that you exist because you feel, and you know at least one other source exists because something changes the way you feel and you don't fully understand why, which makes this other source intelligent. Although some don't understand this, you are constantly communicating with this other source. If you focus on this other source of intelligence with patience, you will inevitably understand and undoubtedly know that you are communicating with an intelligent being other than yourself, but share the same connection. Once you have grown acquainted with this intelligence again, you will almost immediately have a feeling of unconditional trust, love, and knowledge of your ultimate being with the utmost certainty. This feeling is the proof of all existence. If you find yourself seeking the ultimate truth of existence and consciousness through proof delivered by the physical plane, remind yourself what you already know. Ultimate truth is found within. The best scientist that has ever existed is the one who finally proves that consciousness and existence cannot be proven through any aspect of the physical plane world. Because the physical plane world itself is changing and is a product of consciousness and existence. Once you find your internal proof of intelligent knowledge, you will understand that consciousness is vast to the level of uncapable understanding while incarnate. Our current lives are a reflex of the physical plane. So, what action is causing this reflex? Thought. We do nothing without first a thought. Our thoughts cause a certain action, but ultimately, we do not always know what the action is going to be. We believe that our thought will produce a certain action, but sometimes it produces an outcome of the unexpected. We hope for a certain outcome, but we know it is not 100% certain because the world works in mysterious ways. So how can we be uncertain of our own thoughts? We cannot rely 100% on our own thoughts to predict the future. No matter what, the physical plane world always controls our outcome. So if our thoughts do not control the physical world, and our bodies are a part of the physical world, what do they control? Ultimately, our thoughts do not control anything. However, they do give us an awareness of the physical plane and provide our perceptions. Our thoughts also provide our way of communication. Our communication with others incarnate, as well as incarnate. Our thoughts are used by our spirit team to guide us through life. Our perception of decision making is our spirit team giving us a heads up on what might be happening in the future. Sometimes they tell us, sometimes they do not. Ultimately, we do not need anything in the physical world to exist. Our thoughts are a part of the physical plane perception. Ultimately, consciousness and existence is our feelings. The physical plane world is a product of our feelings. Everything we do in the physical world is done to obtain a certain feeling. Everything we see, hear, and touch produces a certain feeling. Everything we accomplish is done to produce a certain feeling. Everything that this world was created for was done to produce a certain feeling. Ultimately, everything is feeling. This physical plane world is a perception of your feelings, a perception that it is giving you these feelings through your actions, and that your actions themselves are a feeling. When you find your internal proof of intelligent knowledge of consciousness and existence, it is then when you find that all these physical plane world feelings are actually coming from a source within. This intelligent source is consciousness, which we are all a part of. You can bypass the middleman, the broker, the physical plane world, and go straight to the source itself. You are the source itself. You are consciousness. Everything is consciousness. You are your creator. Do not confuse this as being alone. Picture consciousness as being an enormous honeycomb. We together are an infinite amount of possibilities, all connected together as one whole, with our own individual experiences that we call consciousness. So, like everything in this physical world, our wants and needs are not as perceived. Once you understand that we do not have the control that we once perceived, the thoughts of needs and wants seem to be pointless. But when you find your internal proof of intelligent knowledge of consciousness and existence, you understand that our needs and wants are our motivation. Motivation comes in many different ways, but this is one of the main ones. So yes, without our needs and wants, our lives would be much simpler, and there would be less disappointment. And maybe you created part of your life to be without needs and wants, for they are not needed, and life is what it is, with or without your wants. For this portion of the episode, I will be allowing a spirit message in the form of spirit-controlled speech, delivered by one of my spirit guides. Please keep in mind that during any spirit control, there is often interference picked up on the recording. And since it is spirit controlled, I cannot re-record. Okay, what the heck are we talking about this time? And hello, everybody. Thanks for listening to me ramble on again. I truly appreciate it. I would want nothing more. Yeah, it's one of those days. Okay, wants and needs. Want, need. Oh, there is a lot of wants and needs in the world. Holy crap. You have no idea. Literally, no idea. There's a lot. Lots of wants and needs. In fact, it's almost all wants and needs. And it's a little unfair of me to point the finger at all of you because ultimately you don't really have a choice in the moment. Yes, you've all designed your lives the way you wanted them to be. Mistakes don't exist. But it sure is fun giving you the perception that they do. Yes. Us spirits are the ones in control of your perceptions. That's right. I hate to kick a man when he's down, so to speak, but you don't necessarily control your perceptions either. In the moment. It's a little complicated. Okay, so you control them a little bit, but mostly they're guided. And when I say guided, I really mean manipulated, because that's what spirits do. But we love you, and we've always known you and been with you forever. So it really doesn't matter. You knew what you were doing before you got into this. So it's complicated, but you have a little bit of control of your perception. And I've talked about this before. Your focus. There's lots of things going on in the world. There's lots of things going on in consciousness. There's lots of things going on in your perceptions. You get to, I'm going to use the word arrange. You get to arrange your focus on your perceptions. For the most part, your whole current physical lives in this physical plane world is a perception. The whole thing, the whole experience is a perception. You don't truly know your true and ultimate being other than what I'm not going to say. We'll get back to what I've said in previous episodes. If you're thinking you're confused, when you know something, it's a feeling, your intuition. It's very easy to confuse the two. And I'm sorry, I know that's complicated. And I could keep going and going and going. Okay. When you know something, it's a feeling. You just know it. There's no ifs, no confusion. You truly know 100% something because you feel it. It's not your brain telling you something. It's your intuition, your internal soul. That's your intuition. Thinking, period. If you find yourself thinking, contemplating on something, that's not intuition. It's perception. You're confused. When you just know something, obviously, you know something. So if you find yourself thinking, well, gee, I wonder if I know this or not, well, then obviously you don't. If you find yourself thinking in the moment, I wonder if this is a perception or is this intuition? If you find yourself thinking that, well, then obviously it's a perception. It's not intuition if you are thinking that. When you know something, you know something. It's a feeling. You just know 100%. That is what it is. Okay, let's move on. Wants and needs. Needs and wants. Once you understand the ultimate truth, the ultimate being, you understand your reality. And all of you will. Again. Not necessarily in this life, but you will again. Some understand it in life. Some do not. If you haven't figured it out by now, it's no big deal. That's the way you wanted it. Enjoy. For those of you that have, well then, one of the first thoughts that come into mind would be, why the heck do I have a need and a want sensation? Why do I need this? Why do I have a feeling of wanting that? When I know it is what it is. It can seem quite purposeless to have a need or a want. Kind of like dangling a carrot in front of the donkey. Maybe not that bad, but you get the point. We use needs and wants for motivation. They are your motivation. For you do not understand the future. No one does. No one knows the future. Even your intuitions. Well, I can't say that. Some have intuitions of the future, and they do come true. It's very rare. And we do that for a reason. Obviously, the reason would be if someone can produce something of the future, that it was meant to be, and it couldn't have been avoided. So we kind of slip those in here every once in a while, but we're not really the ones doing it. But it gets complicated. Okay, let's move on here. So understanding, realizing that you don't know the future. You don't. You don't know the future. In the moment. You don't know what's going to happen. You can guess and you can hope what's going to happen. But ultimately, you know that you don't know for sure what's going to happen. This life that you're experiencing is a sequence of feelings. It's a sequence. You don't know the sequence. You created the sequence, but now in the moment, you don't know. We are the ones that kind of give you hope that this upcoming sequence of feelings is going to be good. We give you hope that the next upcoming sequence of feelings is going to be good feelings that you must work for with feeling. You have to work for these feelings with your feelings. You have to endure certain feelings in order to get the more pleasurable feelings. Obviously, the world is balanced very well. It needs balance. And I've said this before over and over again. You can't just have good feelings all the time, because then they would just be feelings. They wouldn't be good feelings. They would just be feelings. And it gets a little complicated because, yes, in spirit, good and bad don't exist. So in spirit, your true and ultimate reality, your feelings exist, of course, because everything is feeling. You are feeling. Existence is feeling. I know it's hard to contemplate that. It really is a tough one. But put it this way. Everything you do is to obtain a certain feeling. Everything in life that you do. You wake up in the morning. There's things that you want to get accomplished to give you that good feeling. You drink a cup of coffee because you want the feeling that comes with it. For those of you that drink alcohol, you drink alcohol at the end of the day because you want that feeling. You go to work every day because you want to have the feeling of accomplishment, and you want to have the feeling of not starving to death and being warm when it's cold out, and children to survive, the feeling of survival. All feelings here. Hope everyone understands. It's all feeling. Everything that you want to do, slip that one in there, is to obtain a feeling. Yes, a feeling. So all feelings. All feelings. And this is going back on the last episode a little bit. All feelings, do they need a meaning? Do they need a meaning? Well, no, because needs don't even exist in your ultimate reality. You don't need anything. I know this is a law topic, but meaning. Meaning is something that was developed for this physical plane. Your feelings don't need meanings. I know I'm getting off topic. Feelings. Let's get back. Feelings. Everything is feelings. Your needs and wants are a motivation for you to endure certain feelings, to obtain certain feelings. So, needs and wants are used by spirit in thought for communication. Mainly, your perception that you're creating these needs and wants in the moment. Well, why don't you just keep that perception available for change, we'll call that, okay? Keep that perception available for change, because that's what this podcast is all about. It's all about allowing your perceptions to change, because the ones that are listening to this are the ones that are ready to allow their perceptions to change. We, spirits, know how you feel in the moment all the time. Your feelings are not always going to change in the direction that you would hope for. But we know what you hoped for originally. Sometimes it's really hard to explain things without complication. But you are your feelings. You notice I've said this over and over again. You are your feelings. We guide your feelings. Because really, ultimately, that's all that exists, feelings. But feelings are what count the most to you. Everything you do is for feeling. Thinking about thought, for instance, when you think about thought, I know it's kind of a mirror effect that could go on forever. Put a mirror in front of another mirror is what I'm trying to. Okay. Think about thought. When you think about existing without thought, without thinking, well, that can create quite the feeling, can it? I'm trying not to confuse here, I promise. At first, the thought of thinking of without thought can be overwhelming. We'll just leave it at that. But remind yourself that feeling is the most important thing to you. You are feeling. Feeling is everything. Yes, when you have thoughts of, well, if I couldn't see or smell or feel or think about what I want to do today or love, for instance, well, guess what? Those are all feelings. Your eyes are a perception of the feeling. When you see something that you enjoy and you like looking at, that develops a feeling. A beautiful sunset, a walk in the woods. These are all great feelings that you perceive to be of your vision. I know your feeling changes when you close your eyes. That when you close your eyes, the feeling changes, and you open them again, you get a different feeling. The beautiful sunset. If you're looking at the beautiful sunset, you're getting a great feeling. It's producing a great feeling. And as soon as you close your eyes, well, the feeling changes. It's difficult to contemplate, but it's not the sunset that's producing the feeling ultimately. Ultimately, it is your consciousness that is producing the feeling. It is a perception of the physical world. Everything is feeling. Everything is feeling. If you could just imagine feeling, just feeling, and being able to obtain the feeling of a beautiful sunset without needing your vision. If you could obtain feeling, beautiful feelings, allowing your feelings to persist without thought, without the physical plane. If you could bypass the physical plane, like MA called it earlier, the broker. If you could bypass the broker, the salesman selling you on these beautiful feelings, if you could bypass and go straight to the source itself, well then, all of a sudden, well, you don't need thought. And I understand. It's something that is not capable of understanding in the moment. This is where your intuition comes in hand. This is when you allow your intuition to take over. Allow the feeling to take over. When you have a beautiful feeling, a great feeling, does anything else matter? Do you need explanation? Do you seek understanding? Or do you just be? If you have a beautiful feeling, nothing else matters. You don't need change. You don't need understanding. When you have a beautiful feeling, in the moment. That is the closest way for me to explain to you your ultimate being and what it's like in the spirit plane, your true existence. Time is not needed, for there's nothing to lose, nothing to be done. So, if feeling is all that truly exists, and why, if it is such a beautiful existence, just to feel, why in the heck do we incarnate? Why do we need experience? If feeling itself is so great. Understand, there's one thing that cannot be obtained in spirit, and it is experience. Of course, I've said this before, and I just said it a few minutes ago. Yes, everyone gets that. Yes, but why do we need experience if it's so great in the spirit world where we come from, our true home? Why do we need experience? Let's rewind a little bit more to what I said earlier in the episode, just a little bit earlier. About feeling, of course. Our feelings are not good or bad in spirit. Good or bad. What does that mean? How can that be? What is something? What is existence that is not good or bad? The closest word in the vocabulary is content. Content. The physical world is a balance of extreme negative and positive fields that produce itself a feeling of its own. And it's nothing new. The physical plane world is nothing new. It has always existed. It has been created, but not from nothing. Creation is change. Creation is change. We have always been kinetic. Change is inevitable. Everything is feeling. Consciousness is feeling. The physical plane world, the experience, creates a new feeling. The physical plane world itself creates confusion, creates confusion. Without this confusion, it could not create a new feeling. New feelings cannot be created without confusion. It is the unknown that creates a new feeling. It's an infinite cycle of feeling. An infinite cycle of feeling. So is one better than the other? The physical plane, the spirit plane. Is one desired more? In other words, are you happier in one or the other? That question only exists in the physical world. That question doesn't even exist in the spirit world, in your ultimate reality. That question doesn't even exist. I do my best to explain what I can. Some things are just different. You will always exist. No matter what. What I can tell you is that your return to the spirit world is part of a circulation of feelings that words cannot describe. There are certain parts of this circulation of feelings that cannot be physically described. It's a feeling. But if you allow your consciousness to expand and allow your spirit team, your spirit guides to assist you, they will explain it to you in feeling. For that is your ultimate communication. Your ultimate being. Has no explanation of thought. This physical plane reality is your reality, but it is your brief reality. So, if this physical plane world is brief, does that make the spirit world, the spirit plane, longer or larger? Time does not exist. In your ultimate reality. There is no future, no past, because your feelings are instant. Understanding a previous feeling would be absolutely pointless. And yes, that may lead some to the notion of, well, then wouldn't there be reason? No. It does not. because reason does not exist in spirit. It's very hard to contemplate. To fully understand your ultimate being, which some of you have decided and planned out to do before incarnation. Some of you want to understand. Sorry. I had to slip that one in there, and I figured now when I was being kind of serious there, it would be a good time. Everything's okay. No matter what you do, everything's going to be fine. Us spirits know what you're going through. We like to have a good time. We exist. We don't use thought in spirit. We use feeling. We use thought with you. And I'm trying to make this the easiest way to contemplate. In spirit, you don't need anything. Just feeling. Trust us. Here, thought exists. It's how you communicate. It creates confusion. Thought is confusion. Hence what I said previously about the circle of feeling. The revolution of feeling. Okay. Yes. We exist. You exist. We all exist together as one. Do I take my personality with me when I'm conversing with feelings with other spirits? Do I have some sort of a personality? This is a whole nother episode, but I just wanted to slide it in this one, okay? Personality, well, I'll have to get back to you on that one. But obviously I have a personality now. But is it just because I'm here in the physical world? And how's my personality created without thought? Why? Oh, wow, it's confusing here. Aha. Thought I'd add that one in there. Yes. So much to be confused about here. If you want to give your soul a break, and you find yourself overthinking, remind yourself of your true being, feeling. You can't go wrong. Like I said earlier, if you have a great feeling, nothing else matters. That is the simplest way to exist, period. Can you control it? Can you control that feeling? Unfortunately, no, you can't. Not while you're incarnate. But you can adjust your perception by allowing your focus to shift. And if you haven't gotten it by now, we never really come straight out and tell you guys stuff. We just don't. It would make it too easy. But at least I'm not talking in riddles here. I'm pretty straightforward. And I think you'll find in life that there's not a lot of spirits out there that are as forward as I am. I mean, I'm pretty literal. Pretty literal. And I'm not 100% literal. But I'm pretty literal. So, but not 100%. So, allow your spirit team to do what they like to explain these things that I tell you and feeling and understanding. I mostly am figurative for the most part, but I am a little literal. Some of the things I say can be taken literally, but most of them are figurative. Sorry, but that's literally what I'm. Okay. Yeah, I'm a little all over the place today. I am a spirit, remind you, and I like to have a good time. Yes, some of you got that a little bit. Some of you got it. Some of you probably won't get it. And some of you might get it when the show's over. I'll leave that up to your spirit guides. Enjoy, everyone. For next time you have a need or a want, think of your spirit team and say, hey, what the heck? What's up? Okay. This concludes the spirit message for this episode. I hope everyone has experienced an expansion of consciousness. For me, I know that I created my experience this way for a reason. But now, in the moment, I wish the only thing that I wanted is to not have any wants or needs. For now, I will just exercise my patience. Please feel free to contact me with any questions. I love questions. We all need each other to expand our consciousness. Thanks again, and I look forward to seeing all of you in the near future. Thank you, everyone, for sharing your time. I know a lot of the things that I talk about can be quite confusing. That being said, if there are any questions, please don't hesitate to ask. I'd love to go over them with you and discuss any matters that you might have at hand. Thank you again, everyone. Please tune in next time for Peripheral Consciousness with Emily Johnson. Thank you.
Thank you.